2 years ago, I was arrested in Prague. On that fateful day, I made a critical decision at a pivotal moment that would change the course of my life. Now, I'm sure that you have all been at a crossroads where you have to make a critical decision, and one path leads to oblivion, and the other path leads to roses and sunshine. Often at those moments, you'll hear a quiet voice, that voice of intuition, perhaps warning you of the dangers ahead, or maybe even bright possibilities. But often that quiet voice is drowned out by emotions, by social pressure, by time pressure. Now let me take you to the scene of the crime. I'd been in Europe for 2 weeks on this exquisite tour with my traveling companion. We'd started off in Switzerland, we'd navigated our way through the French vineyards, up and down the Austrian Alps, and ended in the beautiful city of Prague. It's no coincidence that we chose Prague, the most romantic city in Europe, as our final destination for our trip. That final day, the morning had begun beautifully. We're soaking up the sunshine, enjoying the great architecture, the riverside strolls, the incredible history of the place. But there was one ominous feature. Everywhere we went, there was this heavy police presence. They all carried armed rifles, as if the tourist invasion was as threatening as the invasion of the Soviets and the Germans decades before. And it was well known to the locals that the Czech police carried extensive powers. Often unsuspecting tourists would be slapped with a fine or even handcuffs for not carrying their identification. Now, on that day, I was operating under two conflicting pressures. I had a plane to catch out of Europe, but I also had a beautiful woman alongside me who I was desperately trying to impress. This was my last day with her, and I wasn't sure if she'd want to see me again. So I was trying to impress her with my knowledge of the local sites and European history, and I lost track of time. And suddenly we found ourselves scrambling to get to the central train station so that we could make our planes on time. We arrive at the station, and everything is in Czech. No English anywhere. We make our way to the ticket machine, and it looks like it's hieroglyphics. We're pressing the buttons, trying to figure out how to purchase a ticket, to no avail. So we throw up our arms and make our way over to the main counter, where there we find a middle-aged woman who is so bored and so unhelpful that there's nothing we can do. It's at complete odds with our sense of urgency. And my traveling companion notices that the locals are just streaming through the gates, not paying for tickets. She says to me, "It's a Saturday. I'm sure the Czechs don't pay for tickets on a Saturday. That's the reason why they're going through." The argument doesn't sound very convincing to me, but I don't want to seem pedantic or lacking in courage. So I go, "Yeah, maybe you're right. Let's not pay for a ticket. Let's walk through." And we do. We walk through the gates and onto the escalator. A giant escalator that descends like a snake into the bowels of the earth. And as we descend down the escalator, the atmosphere heats up, and in the distance we see two uniformed shapes, like two guards guarding the gates of hell. The escalator delivers us with its metal jaws to our fate. And as we arrive, we hear the words, "Tickets." Tickets? We don't have tickets. We fumble to find an excuse. We blame it on the English, the confusion, nobody's paying for tickets, the hieroglyphics on the machine. But our excuses sound useless as our whispers. The guard then says, "Passports." So we hand over our passports. And he begins to write out a huge $300 €300 fine. Ouch! But then I notice the next train is leaving in 10 minutes to the airport. We may be able to catch our flights on time. So I think, well, 300 euros, we can get on the flight. So I start scrambling to get the money out of my wallet as quickly as I can. And then I hear a, "No! We are not paying that fine. It's unfair." I look to my left and we've got no bargaining position. We're guilty of the crime. "What do you mean?" She says, "Just trust me." Okay. And she's relentless in her arguments. I almost think she's trying to impress me with her feistiness. And she continues. But the officers say to us, "I think you guys are going to have to continue this argument at the police station." Now I really start to panic. She says, "Don't worry." And she continues, doubles down. Now this is not in the officer's playbook. I'm not sure whether they're confused or scared, but eventually they're on the back foot. And after a little while, she manages to negotiate a 75% reduction in our fine. Wow, I didn't know you could negotiate train tickets. But a huge sense of relief washes over me. We pay the fine and jump onto the next train. The train arrived like a red carpet, delivering us slowly to our destination. And as we take that peaceful train trip to the airport, we reflect on the last 2 crazy weeks together and realize that we're at another pivotal moment where we have to decide whether this incredible fairy tale love should continue to exist or whether we should let each other go. We come from opposite sides of planet Earth, and it seems crazy to make this decision. But in that moment, and in the peace on the train, a quiet voice speaks out to us, talks to us about the possibilities ahead. And in that pivotal moment, we make the perfect decision, and the path ahead is nothing but roses and sunshine.